Now, more and more gender-based violence stories are making headlines in South Africa. 3 women have responded to this with a theatre production. Hashtag We Are Dying Here. It's now available for streaming online. I'm joined now by one of the producers, Siphokazi Jonas, who joins us via Skype from Cape Town. Siphokazi, thank you so much for joining us so early on a Sunday morning. Now, as a woman in South Africa, the feeling of helplessness, a feeling of anxiety, of feeling afraid, is part and parcel of everyday life, isn't it? And while those feelings are exhausting in itself, even more exhausting is firstly having to explain why we feel like that, because some people still don't understand why. And secondly, feeling like there's nothing you can do about it. And you took those feelings and you decided to pour it into your craft, into your art form. Talk to us about what led you to start writing and producing and putting together this production.
Thank you so much for having me today. I think you've actually summarized it perfectly, is those feelings of fear, the anxiety of what it means to simply walk down the street or just to be in your home, and this idea that we're not really safe anyway. I think it was triggered by the story of eNCA last year, where a lot of us felt that overwhelming anxiety. And yet I think, though, as much as we speak about gender-based violence, we don't those small moments in life, so not even just the big stories, but the smaller moments of what it means to be a woman in South Africa. And we thought we wanted to create this space of catharsis, a space of conversation that isn't focused on trying to find a solution, but really just to build a community that says, this is not normal and we're not okay. We're still trying to figure out what to do with that, with not being okay. But it's just the acknowledgement of saying, this is abnormal, this is stressful. And we need to just find ways of sharing our experiences with each other.
Now, speaking about catharsis, what was it like for 3 women to put this piece together? What did you go through personally in putting words on paper and then putting it on stage?
My goodness, there were some tears, certainly. I think a lot of our rehearsal process had to do with conversation and mining our own stories, the stories of our sisters, our mothers, our aunts, our grandmothers, all the women in our lives, really. In the beginning, when we started the production, which was the end of last year during 16 Days of Activism, I think we were filled with a lot of rage and we were just trying to pour all of that out. But over the last couple of months, there's also been healing in conversation. And I think it's now about us creating a safe space where our audiences feel like they can share their rage, they can share their feeling, because there's something healing in that articulation of our trauma. So it's actually been quite transformative for us to be able to have conversations and realize that you're not alone. You know, we speak about little tricks that we have, for example, walking in the middle of a street rather than walking in a pavement if it feels like you might be cornered or you can't escape as quickly as possible. And those are things that a lot of us do, but we never really talk about them. And I think speaking about it has been healing for us in this process.
Now, talking about that feeling of transformation and of healing, you say you have created spaces when you've performed this live, where you've engaged with a live audience. Talk to us now about taking this production online. How are you hoping to have that same feeling and that same engagement, but on a different platform where you can't see the faces of those who the artists are engaging with?
I think this has been the challenge of lockdown and everything moving to a digital space, is that we're trying to figure out more interesting and creative ways to do that. At the moment, we're using the hashtag itself, where people are able to have conversations with the hashtag. We're looking at using some communal platforms like Zoom, where we're actually going to have a few talks, a few conversations, possibly a Facebook Live. We're not 100% sure just yet, but I think along with our audiences and our followers, we're trying to figure out what that looks like for this digital age. And we're hoping that by the end of the 2 weeks, we'll have something clear figured out in terms of how we want to proceed.
So those who want to find out more, who want to be part of this movement, as it were, and want to watch hashtag We Are Dying Here, where can they go to find out more?
There's information available on all my social media, which is Siphokazi_J or Siphokazi Jonas, but as well as the website where this stream will be happening, which is COVID0 covid0.co.za, covid0.co.za. It lays out very nicely what this production is about.
And I suppose if they use the hashtag We Are Dying Here, some of that information would come up on social media as well. Thank you so much for your time, and we can only wish you everything of the best. That's Siphokazi Jonas, one of the producers of the theatre production, hashtag We Are Dying Here, which will be available streaming online for quite a few days. So you can go on the internet and find out more.